Hey guys, Books Nelson here with another video, and today we'll be talking about this Derrick White Galaxy Opal, and I'm excited about this card because I like this card very, very much. So let's get right into the content. So first things first, he's a great shooter. I'm going to show you one of the reasons he's a great shooter. So if we go to this replay here, all right, I'm going to show you guys the visual cue. So when his hand does this in this position, if I zoom out, you can actually see a little shadow gets created, right, on his hand. And basically, as soon as you see that shadow, right, even if the shot's very fast, you can see that shadow kind of come up. And that's basically your release point if you're on push. If you're on a different release, adjust accordingly. But even from different angles, that same placement is very easy to see. Like right there, the ball's in front of his face. And he has normal leaner. So even on that normal leaner, ball in front of the face, let it go. Hall of Fame difficulty, hit it basically every time, right? Ball above his head, let it go. Hall of Fame difficulty, hit it every time while talking, because it's just that good, right? Ball's in front of his face, get it out of there. So, and then from this wing angle, you see the shadow of the hand moving, who cares? Bucket. So this guy is such a good shooter that for him to be so great on defense and everything else, I do think that this card can potentially make your lineup, even if you have very, very good point guards, because him being smaller and faster is a stylistic difference. So speaking of style, so we talked about normal leaner. He has pro hop jumper. Ignore it. It's terrible. Moving on. Kyrie Irving dribble style mixed with the De'Aaron Fox signature size up. This is a special combination, guys. And it's a combination you don't see if you play My Career, because people usually beeline to that Steve Francis if they're small enough and fast enough to get Kyrie Irving dribble style. But there are some beautiful things about this De'Aaron Fox dribble style mixed with this Kyrie Irving. We're going to talk about that stuff right now. So first of all, Kyrie Irving, what's special about it? Well, with Derrick White, he's really fast with it, right? So this is almost a pro dribble style type push cross situation of him being able to left right. And then on top of that, his front push cross is also really, really quick. And then on top of that, any dribble you do, you can burst out of immediately with the Kyrie Irving dribble style. No hesi cancel necessary. It's dribbling on training wheels. Whatever you do, you can just burst out of it in either direction. So I'm going opposite, and also you can do behind the back or forward, right? So let's test the theory. So I'm going to do crossover, opposite direction, and I'm going to use both the forward and the backwards. So, right? So that's the forward and that's the backwards. Both very, very quick. And we'll just do same side just to show it. And that's him going to the same side. No hesi cancel necessary. But the thing that's really cool about it is if you look at the crossover, he has this bob here, right? You see, it's a built-in kind of hesi, almost carry the ball kind of thing. And then when he dribbles between the legs, he goes really low. His head ducks down really low. And then behind the back, he's got this Jamal Murray almost kind of thing going on. And if you combo it, he does that, right? That's his behind the back combo. So he has like a soft version of Jamal Murray. Why do I like this so much? I'll tell you why. So the thing about it is, if you mix these dribbles in with his hesi cancels, with his escape move, his Kemba escape, right? It just gives you a good way to manipulate your opponent, because he can explode so quickly that the ability to rhythm them up and change speeds and change the height of your head to look like you're doing one thing or another. If somebody's playing on-ball defense, just with the size up alone and the escapes and the Kyrie Irving dribble style, you can cook people, right? Like, look at that dribble combo. That's crazy. Speaking of dribble combo, his combo moves, LeBron James, they're terrible. Too slow. Don't use them. His aggressive combos with Kobe Bryant, his breakdown moves, very, very slow. I don't see the use for him. If you find a use for him, go ahead. But the beautiful thing is, he's so good with this De'Aaron Fox signature size up that he doesn't need any of that stuff. He can just create his own combo and burst out of it whenever he wants. And the drawback to these canned combos is you have to watch which hand the ball is in before you decide which way you want to go. And because of latency and because it's pre-canned, you might get the wrong direction. Now with the Kyrie Irving dribble style, that doesn't really matter. But in say the Michael Jordan dribble style, that might be the difference between a good burst and a bad burst. Whereas with him, he doesn't really need to do that stuff, because you can just do whatever combos you want. And wherever you press last, you know what hand the ball is in based on what you did with the right stick, right? And I think that's a really good tool. Speaking of really good tools, Steph Curry, his Curry slide, right? So Curry slide is good because it is also pretty good going to the basket. And it'll serve you a little bit with your bread and butter move. If you're unfamiliar with the channel, the bread and butter move is basically you speed boost in one direction, and then you do a moving dribble when you get to the pinch of the defense. You get forward and then you stick dunk, right? Now, if you don't have the Kyrie Irving dribble style, you have to hezzy burst into that kind of thing, and it'll look something like that, right? So you see there with the Steph Curry, the Steph Curry is normally not an elite move for that, but he's so fast, it is better than normal. But I will say his regular cross with this particular card, I wouldn't say so with, say, a Dr. J if he had that crossover. But with this card, I think it is still pretty good. Not as good as if he had John Wall or Kobe, but it's still pretty good, definitely good enough to use. And we'll look at the between the legs as well. I don't like the between the legs as much, but I think the crossover and the behind the back are good enough for you to attack, cross, and get on that rim as much as you want. All right. Next great tool. Well, actually, before we get off the Curry slide, for those of you who are new to the channel, if you want to do the Curry slide spam, basically you just do it in the same direction like that. You guys can see the controller on the screen, and the explanation is 5577 5577. This is important because that 5577, it's not just for spam. It allows you to burst out of the move also, right? So when you do the Curry slide, you can keep going in the other direction. And so because the Curry slide is such a great L2 cancel move, this is what you get when you do that, right? And the same thing is if you're going like behind the screen, you can manipulate and go both ways and choose what you want to do on the fly, no matter what the situation is. Next great tool, John Wall Snatchback, John Wall Hopback. Now on a card this fast with the Kyrie Irving dribble style, this right, and a great shot, this right here, I'm gonna keep it a buck. With just the De'Aaron Fox and this business right here, all honestly, that could be your whole game. You don't need any of the combo stuff or setup stuff. You can literally just get to this and cook people. If they're trying to guard you on ball, there's just no way. Like if you're reading your opponent at all and reacting to them, ball right in front of the face, dead man walking, right? So that John Wall hopback, it's normally good, but on a card this fast with this good of a jump shot, it's actually beyond good, right? It's as good as it gets. And then he's got the snatch. So the snatchback is also good because not only is it a good combo tool, right? To get you moving in different directions, but it is also an L2 cancelable move. Now I will say it is a little more tricky to L2 cancel because of the nature of the move. So the snatchback is when you're going forward and, or when you're facing the rim, basically, he's going to snatch back. If I move to the side, he does this. So when you're trying to L2 cancel, you have to be very careful of the angle that you're moving at in order to get that snatch back to come out right. So you got to practice that a little bit. But if you get it right, it's actually really fantastic, as you see right there. So he doesn't have the Jamal Murray behind the back. But if you get good at this Kemba Walker snatch back with the L2 cancel, it basically is a substitute Jamal Murray behind the back because it does a lot of the same stuff. So this is a great situation where because of the overall construction of the card, he doesn't need as many of the meta dribbles because the rest of his kit allows him to replace some of the functionality, his speed, the way the Kyrie Irving dribble style fits on the character, his shot, all of this stuff works super duper well for this card. And he's got the James Harden move in hezzy, which the most important thing is it's very easy to burst out of. Now, I previously said with the Kyrie Irving dribble style, you don't need to burst in one direction like that, but I do still think it's useful to have that explosive burst at your disposal because it's just more sudden, right? It's just a little faster. So, and then same thing off of these hop and snatchbacks, that burst, it's just a little glitchier, makes your opponent react a little more to the way the ball hangs out there. So you don't need it, but I like the option to choose which one I'm going to do. And look at that change of direction. Just a fantastic card. This card has so much to him. There's no way in a reasonably efficient video I can tell you everything, but I would say if you're looking to get really good with this card, number one, get comfortable with this De'Aaron Fox signature size up. Get used to rhythmically pressing this and look at how that interacts with just the left stick alone, right? No turbo necessary. Just look at how that works with the left stick and the different dribbles in the Kyrie Irving dribble style. Get used to that, number one. And automatically, you'll be good to go. Obviously, you can add turbo when you want to explode and kill people. Number two, Kemba Escape. Get used to mixing this Kemba Escape in with the dribbles that I just showed you. And when you start putting those things all together, the card can really get a lot glitchier. one thing about the Kemba Escape that I think is important to add to him is they don't really have a name for this. I call it the Diddy Bop, and it's basically when you do this Kemba Escape, you just hold forward in the other direction, right? So just hold forward in the other direction. That's the, I'll show you guys that one in a second too, right? But that's your Diddy Bop, and it's basically you escape and you go the other direction off the escape very, very quickly. It's a great move to mix in at the end of your combos when you're going for the kill, particularly because if you look at the timing of it, right? The timing of an escape, you have to do the escape first and then do the input. It's not like a dial-a combo. It's a reactive combo. So when you put in that escape, based on what your opponent is doing, you decide if you go in the same direction or if you hit him with the Diddy Bop, right? So, you know, that's obviously a fantastic tool. So the other thing I wanted to show you guys real quick. So this is his aggressive crossover, right? So that aggressive crossover is good in the sense that it'll help him explode forward really quickly, right? So the way you do that is you do the aggressive crossing and you just let go of turbo and you can run forward. So it's a great vertical attack. But if you hold the same direction as you do that, he does this kind of hezzy burst in the same hand. You see that right there? So he fakes a crossover and then he goes the same way. So it's it's like a reverse hezzy burst, right? Because you're faking into this dribble right here. So he sticks the ball out for a second and it's just absolutely filthy to do something like that at the end of a combo to get people looking at the hand. And it's like a real life, you know, and one style move where they show the ball like a Kyrie Irving, show the ball, I'm out of here. So yeah, this guy is excellent. So I told you about all of the pros, told you about a lot of the cons. I'm going to compare him with the card that is probably competing for his spot. And that is Mr. Gilbert Arenas. So the one thing I wanted to show with these two cards, Gilbert, I believe is listed as, will it say it here? I think he's listed at 6'4", and so is Derrick White. However, look at this right here. Derrick White is significantly smaller than Gilbert Arenas. And we can see here in the size test. Whoa. There we go. All right. So watch this when the models switch. You can just see Gilbert's arms are longer. I gotta get hold of that. There we go. Gilbert's arms are much longer. He's much wider. And so I think for that reason, Derrick White is not weak defensively, but I do think a lot of people have commented on this Gilbert Arenas card. You can actually see the arm shrink, right? There's a massive difference. People have commented on how the Gilbert card plays such good defense. He has such an outstanding player model. And I think people have kind of fallen a little out of love with the Gilbert card. I don't know if it's because he's free or because we've gotten so many point guards. We've gotten Clyde. I still think Gilbert is fantastic. But I will say, Gilbert, as good as he's moving, he moves more like a version of Dr. J or Shea, which they both have great movement. But when you learn how to move with that Derrick White, it's another discussion, right? So Gilbert, just like Derrick White, great jumper. Gilbert does have the Jamal Murray behind the back. But I do think in this particular case, that is surprisingly less of an issue just because of how fast Derrick White is and how he can both use the Curry slide and the John Wall snatchback on the L2 cancel to get some of the same stuff. So I think this is his direct competition right here because they do a lot of the same stuff. They both shoot well. They're both decent going to the basket. They both have great movement and they both are good defensive cards. But I'm torn as to which one I would actually run. And hopefully this video helped you decide which way you would go as far as that. So stats and badge wise, he's extremely complete. Shoe, dunk, and strength. And then for the badges, 100% absolutely necessary. Put on Deadeye, at least on gold. Put on, let's get the next gen badges. So Deadeye on gold is 100%. Physical handles, I would definitely put on the card. Brick wall, I would put on the card. And I would say rise up, I would put on the card. After that, you can do what you want. Oh, actually, so on, I was confused for a second because post fade phenom showed up. But yeah, Deadeye, physical handles, rise up, and brick wall are the badges I would 100% put on the card before I, judged them. But yeah, I think the card is absolutely fantastic. If you wanted to play this card over a larger point guard, there's a reason to do so. And it's hopefully you've seen that with what I've showed you with this video. He just has much more freedom of movement. He can get to his spots. And when he does get to his spots, his shot queue is so ridiculously easy that I think you can get very, very comfortable with him shooting at a very, very high level, particularly in a 5v5 setting. I think he's going to be really good in a 5v5 setting. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and what Derrick White has promised you for today. But yeah, that's it for the review and the breakdown and the tutorial. I'll see you guys in the next one. Please like and subscribe. Cannot thank you enough for all your support. Peace out.